Dear Evan Hansen is the newest musical that stars Ben Platt, Julianne Moore, Caitlin Denver, and Amy Adams. A film adaptation of the Tony and Grammy Award-winning musical about Evan Hansen, a high school senior with social anxiety disorder and his journey of self-discovery and acceptance following the suicide of a fellow classmate. To be honest, I knew nothing about the musical until I saw the trailer, and then after watching the trailer, I'm like, God damn, this is about to be the most depressing movie of all time, so we'll see how this goes. It's hard to describe Dear Evan Hansen. I think this film is a mess. There are some things I liked in the film. I'll talk about that now. I think there's one musical sequence that's actually pretty fun. And I think at some point in the film, they do touch on the issue of social anxiety, mental illness, and I think they make some great points about it. And mental illness is nothing to joke about. It's a very serious issue, and there's a lot of people that are very quiet about it. They don't show it, and there's people that just feel alone and need help. And I think there is one point in the film that they touch on that, and I think it's pretty effective. And how the film wraps up, obviously no spoilers, but I think they made some right choices with how things progressed, because they could have gone the movie route where everything's all fine and dandy. This ending felt a little bit more real, and I did appreciate that. But besides those three things, that's all I really liked about Dear Evan Hansen. This is a musical, so obviously there are going to be musical sequences throughout the whole entire film. But besides that one I mentioned, that's actually pretty fun, the rest of the musical sequences are so stale. There's no creativity around any of them. And I don't know why they made that choice. I mean, there's a lot of musical sequences in this film, but there's not much to them. It's people sitting down and singing. It's people walking around a room and singing. There's not much camera movement. There's not much of extras doing anything. There's not much of anything. For performances, I think everyone does fine. I think Caitlin Denver was probably my favorite performance. And I think Ben Platt has a great voice, and there are some scenes that he does a really good job. But it's weird I say that because I think he was terribly miscasted. He's supposed to be a senior in high school, but I just can never believe that. Just the way he looks. I think he's nearly 30 years old. I think he's like 28 or something. I get that you cast him because he was actually in the original Broadway musical, and he's done a lot of things lately. He's won Grammys and Tonys, I think, and Emmys, I'm pretty sure. So I get why you do that. But he became distracting because, like I said, he just does not come off as a believable high schooler. I won't talk about the plot too much, but if you've seen the trailer, you'll understand what's happening in the film. And when the film starts, you really feel for this kid, Evan Hansen. I mean, he's just got horrible anxiety all the time, and you really feel for him. You just want him to be happy. But throughout the film and how things progress, he makes some horrible choices, like very fucked up choices that manipulate this family. And I start feeling really bad for the family. Like the scenes that I got really emotional was because the family was getting emotional because Evan Hansen was manipulating them. And then at that point, you can't really root for Evan Hansen. And maybe this is what they're going for, but there were so many times throughout the movie where Evan was doing things and I was just cringing so hard. I'm like, you are just being a bad person. I cannot root for you anymore. And like I said before, mental illness is a very serious thing. It's nothing to joke about. But it feels like sometimes throughout the film, they're using that as an excuse for Evan to do some of these things, and you cannot do that. I mean, I had anxiety throughout this whole entire film. It was like watching a slow train wreck. He makes all these bad and terrible decisions. You know it's just going to end horribly, and you're just cringing up. You're like, God damn it, Evan Hansen, what the fuck are you doing? And look, I'm not trying to say that I hate Evan Hansen, because the dude is dealing with some serious issues. But when he makes all these choices that cause so many people so much pain, it's just hard to root for the guy. Dear Evan Hansen was a mess that feels way longer than its lengthy runtime. For the musical sequences, besides one, there's nothing unique about them. They feel very stale, and it feels like the actors and actresses are just going through the motions. For performances, I think everyone does a fine job. Ben Platt as Evan Hansen, I think, is okay. The problem is, though, he's not fooling anyone as a high schooler. I think he was terribly miscasted there. At first, you really feel for Evan Hansen, but as the film progresses, he makes so many fucked up choices that causes a lot of people a lot of pain, and it makes it hard to root for him. There's one fun musical sequence. I think at some point in the film, they do have a really great message about people dealing with social anxiety, mental illness, and depression. And I think they made some smart choices on how the film should wrap up. But overall, this was a stale musical that I feel like you can skip unless you're a big fan of the original musical. I'll give Dear Evan Hansen 3.5 Davy Daves. Yeah, after seeing the trailer, I thought this would be a film I'd be bawling my eyes out throughout the whole film, but it just wasn't, which is so disappointing. But in all seriousness, though, they do have a good message halfway through the film about dealing with mental illness, depression, anxiety, that I think people should definitely hear if you're dealing with those issues. You're not alone. Just know that. You're never alone. So, Dear Evan Hansen, let me know what you guys thought. If you've seen it, I'm curious to hear. And thank you so much for watching. Click here to see more of Dave Dave's Takes.